Literally right on time, believe it or not.
Are we
Cool.
live?
We're
Or we're
live.
Yeah,
starting soon?
we are officially live, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, indeed.
Yay!
All
I'm just trying
right.
to get out now. I don't know. Anyway,
Is this
are
thing
we going to wait for
definitely,
people to do this?
is this thing definitely recording? Because I'm looking on the actual page itself, and it still says please stand by, starting soon.
Yeah,
You are
that's what mine
recording.
says.
You are there. We see you.
Mine says that too. I don't know whether it's just slow because it's on your account or whatnot.
Hmm.
Um.
Oh.
Oh, something's happening. It's loading.
Okay, cool.
Ah, here we are. Yep, it's up. Yeah, it's good.
Literally right on time, believe it or not.
There we go. That's it. Yeah, it's live now, so I've just turned off
Oh,
the screen.
Oh,
I
I'll
see.
no, my iPhone.
You're getting the way.
My video quality is shocking.
I
Oh,
do
man.
like your posters behind you, by the way.
Yeah, I'll
Thank
show you.
you.
You've got the Godzilla, you've got Mortal Instruments as well. And which one is that next to Godzilla?
Oh, that would be Catching Fire.
Ah, impressive.
Nice.
Yeah, I've got Life of Pi and
No, Captain America.
Captain America, and then I've got
Is
Guardians of the Galaxy on the wall next to it. I don't know if you can see that.
Nah, I can't.
Whoa. Yeah,
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, nice one.
it's just a cover. It's not an official poster or anything. But
No, that's actually quite impressive.
I'm
Did you
super-
actually tear the covers off the Empire magazine?
Oh yes.
Oh,
No, I'm just gonna do this now.
right.
Put the Hobbit one up there soon.
Do you have
Oh,
a
that's impressive. That's pretty good.
I have like an X-Men
Yeah.
Days of Future Past
switch?
way up there, not even in
Oh, let's
view.
get on. Can you get on?
Cool. That's cool.
CK, it's nice to finally like put a face to everything, man. It's nice to meet you officially, dude.
Yeah, not everybody sees my face on the internet unless they watch my YouTube videos. So unless you know me on Facebook, but if you see me on Twitter, you just don't see my face. I never really put any pictures up of myself. So yeah, it's I don't know how to put it, but yeah, I like to stay hidden in some places, but other places I don't mind being exposed.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I think last week was the first time I actually said my name on my YouTube channel. Like, I hadn't even said my whole name up there.
I say it every single time I make a video, and it's just frustrating.
Oh yeah,
I
definitely.
should have just come up with a better introduction than "Hi guys, it's Rihanna." You know how many of my friends go to me, "Hi guys, it's Rihanna." I'm like, shut up, I hate you.
But at least you've got a cool name, Rihanna. So
Thank you.
Yeah, dude, come on,
I
man.
don't like it a lot, man.
why?
You know,
Because
come
no one
on,
else is famous with that name.
Yeah. And every time someone tries to like spell my name, it's like I before H. Yeah, I'm like, no, that's not
Yeah.
the way you spell it. It's Welsh.
Yes,
And
yours
she-
is Welsh. Yeah. I understand
Yeah.
yours being Welsh. Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's true.
Her name isn't even Rihanna. It's Robin. God, God.
Why did you pick Rihanna then?
I don't know. Because
Where
there was
did-
already a singer called Robin.
Oh,
it just sounds cooler.
so she didn't want to. Oh, right. Oh, okay then. Oh.
This is very Guardians of the Galaxy based, isn't it?
Yeah. Are we still waiting for Adele, or is she?
We
Yes.
are waiting for Adele, but she said for us to go ahead and start. She said she's like 15 minutes late. So
Oh.
I guess what we can do is we can introduce each other, and for everybody that's on YouTube out there right now, and then we can go ahead and
Yeah,
start in. I guess.
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Right. Well, I'll let you guys go first.
All right,
Don't
my
let
name
me
is Sam. This is SEL0320 YouTube channel.
Joe Johnson.
Okay, you can go ahead around.
This is Rihanna from Rihanna Toria YouTube channel. I don't know what else to say.
And of course, a lot of you will know me as CK61938. You just have to search on Google for that. You'll find everything you need to know about me. So, yeah. So I guess this is the Guardians of the Galaxy spoiler discussion. Sam obviously sent me an email earlier this week, well, yesterday actually, I believe it was,
Yeah, it was.
asking if I'd be interested in joining himself and a few other people as well to pretty much talk about the awesomeness of Marvel's latest
Oh my
film.
gosh.
And we can all agree that it was flipping awesome.
It was epic. It was just epic. It was pure like science fiction eye candy of action and comedy mixed so well. Like I loved every minute of it.
Mm, I loved it also a lot. I don't know what to say.
Well, I'll have to admit, I mean, I've been saying for a long time before this film even came into existence, when it was announced, I hadn't even heard of these characters. I had no idea who was like Star-Lord, Gamora, a raccoon that holds a machine gun. I mean, what in the world? And then when it was all announced and everything and who was going to play all the characters, I was like, I don't think we've ever seen anybody attempt something like this before. So for me, this was Marvel's biggest risk taker since the first Iron Man movie, because it had the potential to fail epically, but then there was a flip side where it could become something so unique and so awesome that a lot of people are going to turn up and say, you know what, Marvel are onto something here. And I tell you what, the fact that it's now made over $94 million this weekend already.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Gives you
ridiculous.
gives you an example of where Marvel are heading with this type of film. I mean, it's not just that it was a comic book movie. I think just a movie overall, nothing like this has been attempted before. And if it has been attempted, it hasn't been done as awesomely as this. And you have to give James Gunn serious credit for putting together the cast and the know-how, having the backing of not just Marvel but Kevin Feige. I mean, that guy, he is like Marvel's Bill Gates, Steve Jobs, however you want to put it. He is that person for Marvel right now.
Yeah.
He is calling the shots, he is pulling the strings, and it's paid off. I mean, how many films they've released now since the first Iron Man film? It is incredible. It's just incredible. So yeah, I'm amazed. I'm really impressed with how it turned out. Really impressed. So yeah, someone else go. I can't keep talking.
I mean, like, it's kind of ridiculous how well Disney can do Marvel films, like first with the Avengers and now with this. And this didn't even have any lead-up films like the Avengers did. I mean, the Avengers has like Iron Man 1, 2, 3, Thor 1, 2 or whatever, and this one didn't even have any follow-up films, and you just had to get them to like the characters, and it's just so out of the blue and so kind of ballsy for them to do that, because this could have gone terribly wrong. But they just somehow pulled it off. And like the same with Fox and X-Men, X-Men Days of Future Past was just incredible. Gosh. And then you've got like Sony with the Amazing Spider-Man, which it's alright, I suppose. But like the past Spider-Mans, I won't even talk about because I can't stand them. But just how Disney can do this. I mean, people always forget that it's Marvel Studios and Disney because they don't expect it. It's like when you forget the Pirates of the Caribbean is Disney. It's crazy, isn't it? They have God knows how many films planned up to 2018, like Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, Black Widow, which I'm fingers crossed is going to happen. They've got it all figured out, don't they?
Yeah.
I want to work for Marvel.
I think a big part of that is they allow the directors and the people that are taking on these projects, they're giving them full creative rights to take the mythos of these characters and embody them the best way they can. It's like the way that James Gunn did this one, like you can tell it's kind of his feel into it, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody that they've used as a director, it's been a different kind of direction of how it's going to go. Even with like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, like the way that they did that was unlike how they normally do like Marvel movies. So I think that Walt Disney, how they're doing it, is they're allowing like the directors to take the reins with it. And I mean, what they're gonna do next with Phase 3, I'm like, I have no idea where it's gonna go from here, because now, like did y'all see the trailer for It went through like phase 1 and phase 2, and then it
Yeah.
left off with like Guardians of the Galaxy. Y'all see that?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I
Like,
didn't see that.
Yeah, they did a look back to phases 1 and 2, and they pretty much mixed up all the moves that they've done to date, from the
Yeah.
first Iron Man to Guardians of the Galaxy. And I actually got, and this, you know, people will know me as being the hardcore DC fanboys, but I got epic goosebumps watching that video.
Oh my
Just
god.
seeing all those movies that they've put together and where they're heading, it just made me feel like, why the hell didn't DC do this 10 years ago? You know, it's like this was their thing, but they messed up. They missed a chance. But Marvel really have put their stuff together. And as you said earlier, Rihanna, Disney rather, they own Marvel, but now they also own Star Wars as well. You know, they are the embodiment of entertainment now. Disney, they have Marvel, they've got Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and they've now got the Star Wars franchise. They are leading the way in terms of entertainment. They know where they're going. Disney didn't buy Marvel and Star Wars to say, right, we're going to take over your companies. No, they bought them to say, right, we've got the money, this is what you want, we'll give you the money, go away and have fun, kids.
Exactly.
Okay? Use your pocket money, go and buy what you need. And
Exactly.
you touched on it as well, Sam, earlier, where you said that they allow the directors to go down their own creative direction. Some of that is true, because if you remember, Edgar Wright has already left Ant-Man.
Oh gosh, it hurt
Which
me
is
so
an
bad.
absolute shame, because
Yeah.
he has been part of that project for 8 years. And Marvel have been helping him along the way. 8 years he's been involved in that project. Finally, he gets the movie ready to be made, and then something's happened. We don't know the full extent of the story, as what the difference is between, you know, whether it was Kevin himself or Edgar or the big wigs of Marvel or Disney. We don't know. But it's just an absolute shame that Edgar is not going to see his baby that he has carried for 8 years come alive. So, you know, I'm disappointed. I'm really, really sad about that. But they brought in Peyton Reed. You know, we'll see what he can do. But I really wish it was still Edgar Wright's baby. I'm really disappointed that he's not going to see it through. Who knows? Maybe he'll still go and see the movie when it comes out.
Yeah.
And but he might be the guy at the back crying, saying that should have been my baby. That was my little girl, and look what they've done to her.
Yeah. Did y'all remember when Darren Aronofsky was supposed to do for the Wolverine? Remember he was supposed to direct that initially, and then the reins got picked up by somebody else, and like that kind of hit me hard here, because I was like, they have like Paul Rudd is gonna be like Scott, and then they've got like Michael Douglas is gonna be Hank Pym, and I was like, okay, you get A-listers like that, he's got a plan, and like where they could go with it. I was like, I don't know, but I was worried about it. Yeah.
Is this Adele?
Oh my gosh. All right, I'm taking up the reins. But the fact of where they could have gone with it, I mean, but I was worried about it because when they talked about like the Age of Ultron, that I guess Ultron is supposed to be originated from like Howard Stark instead of like Hank Pym, I was like, started worrying about where they were going to kind of go with the mythos, but I don't know if that has something to do with it or not, but it might be. But either way, it's still a downer that he's not going to be directing that.
Yeah. I think the other thing, yeah, go on.
Sorry. Like if you watched all of it, well, most of Edgar Wright's film, like the Three Flavors Cornetto trilogy and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which are some of my favourite films.
Yes.
It's so disappointing to know that he's not going to be able to put that sort of style into it, sort of thing, because I'm such a massive fan of the way he does comedy, and there's sort of the element of British to it that I like, just because I'm from the UK, and also you might find that as well. But it's just disappointing, really, to see him go.
Yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, it's fine. But yeah, no, I mean, as I say, with the roadmap that Marvel have, I mean, they've mapped everything out until 2019 now, and from 2017 they're looking to release 3 movies a year, and that just really shows you the commitment that Marvel are wanting to, you know, to have for their films, and yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, we will get a female-led movie eventually.
Yeah.
I'm hoping sometime from 2017 onwards, we might see a Black Widow solo movie. We might even see a She-Hulk movie. We may even also see a Captain Marvel movie. This is what we're screaming out for. You know, yes, it's great that we are now getting comic book movies. They've been around since, well, you could argue since the first Superman movie in 1978. But if you go back further, you've obviously got the 1960s Batman movie as well. You know, so perfect timing. But yeah, you know, so the comic book movies have been in existence since long before a lot of us were born, and it's only now that, you know, Marvel themselves have decided to take it upon themselves to say, you know what, there's a market out there. We've got fans out there. They read these things every day. They read the comics day in, day out. This is their fantasy. This is their world. Let's bring things to life for them. And they've done that. And yes, Warner's and DC are now saying, okay, we're a bit behind, guys. Marvel are doing something incredible here. What the hell have we got? And yeah, they have now brought out Man of Steel. Brilliant. I was happy with that. And now, obviously, we've got Batman v Superman. And what is interesting is, right, and I just tweeted this picture not long ago because I'm going to read it out to you guys because it actually made me not pissed off, but it had some feels. Someone posted a picture on Facebook, so I'm just going to read this out. I haven't heard one person complain about the Guardians of the Galaxy having too many characters without them each getting their own solo movies first. I know the characters in Guardians of the Galaxy aren't as beloved characters as Batman, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman, but hopefully the success of Guardians of the Galaxy will show people you can have an ensemble cast with multiple important characters without giving any prior character development if it's done right. And in brackets, if this wasn't already obvious, and then you have this person's listed out Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, X-Men, and then at the end, which I think pretty much says it all, I'm starting to think people just like shitting on Batman vs Superman for the fun of it. And I have to admit, that person's got a point. Because I'm starting to think the same. It's like the movie gets announced at Comic-Con last year that they're going to do a Superman movie, sequel to Man of Steel, but the surprise was it was going to feature Batman. And over the past 12 months, we've had Ben Affleck cast as Batman, Gal Gadot's been cast as Wonder Woman. You know, we've had all these news trickle out, and it's made people worried. And it's understandable they're going to be worried. But why are you worried? Have a look at X-Men Days of Future Past, X-Men First Class.
Exactly.
Characters.
Yeah.
And the films were hugely successful. You know, there's talk of doing a Sinister Six movie.
Yeah.
There's talk of doing a Venom movie with, you know, spin-off from The Amazing Spider-Man. People, again, were complaining that Amazing Spider-Man 2 was going to suffer from too many villains. But it didn't. It didn't suffer from it at all. It balanced it out. And
luckily.
And looking at Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, that film for me, I still say that is the best Marvel film I have seen for a while now. I know Captain America: The Winter Soldier is a lot of people's favorites, and I can see why. But Guardians of the Galaxy for me blew everything that Marvel have done so far out of the water, and very, very impressed. And I mean, I think there were certain elements of the film where I was just in absolute awe of what was being presented. I mean, I particularly love the ending. I really, really love the ending with little baby Groot dancing to Jackson 5's ABC. I mean, how cute was that? It was just dancing away.
It was hilarious. I was going like...
Yeah, I was boogieing away as well. And I just thought, this is amazing. And Chris Pratt, I love the guy. Oh, what a gentleman and what a guy. I've heard he's come a long way. And I think the first movie I saw him in was Wanted with James McAvoy. And he was probably only in it for about 10 minutes. But that was the first film I saw him in. And I didn't really know who he was at the time. I know he's been on a show called Parks and Recreation. So a lot of people don't know watching that. Yeah. So, but no, this film was just something else altogether. It was all in space. It was all done in space. You know,
it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, we spent like the first 5 minutes of it on Earth, and then for the rest of it, it was all in space. It was just
Yeah.
superb. Absolutely.
It was beautiful, wasn't it?
It was.
Just
It was. I mean,
cinematography was on point.
yeah. Well, what were your favourite scenes, though? That's the question.
I mean, I have so many. I gotta touch on what you were talking about before, though. I guess to play devil's advocate to an extent of why people, I think, are continuously like saying like, well, it's gonna have too many characters and stuff like that. I think they worry about like two different movies. One was Spider-Man 2, well, not Spider-Man 2, but Spider-Man 3 by Sam Raimi,
Yeah.
and then X-Men: The Last Stand. And
Mm.
I noticed like with The Last Stand, it was a different director anyway. It was so convoluted. It wasn't how the mythos was supposed to be, and they just kind of added characters without adding like story development. And then with Spider-Man 3, I've said it on record that if they would have just kept it with Sandman and Harry and tied up those storylines by themselves, then lead into Spider-Man 4. But what happened was Sony was like, we need to go ahead and put it in there because everybody wants them. Sam Raimi didn't even want
You didn't want
Venom to be in it at all.
No.
And so it added so much to detract from the characters that were supposed to be exemplified, and it moved away. And that's what people have in their heads. They have that same mentality that this is going to happen again and it's going to ruin it for us. And it's not. It depends on the director. If the director knows and has a vision for the characters, then it's going to work as smoothly as what we've noticed, Guardians of the Galaxy, X-Men, Days of Future Past, and even like Captain America added 2 or 3 new characters, and they fit so perfectly. It depends on who writes it and who directs it in the way that the characters are supposed to be done. And I mean, Guardians of the Galaxy, it blew. I didn't have any preconceived notions of what this could have been. All I knew was that I loved the soundtrack. I loved the way the soundtrack was just like talked about through the trailers, and I noticed it was going to be funny. That's all I knew. Besides that, I looked at, I think, the Amazing Spider-Man, the cartoon series, the new one that's out. They had like an episode where Nova, I guess he was contacted by the group that he used to be with, was the Guardians of the Galaxy. But before then, I had no idea who the Guardians really were. And so when I came into the movie, I had no idea there was going to be so much character development, comedic, like, perfection. Like, there were certain cues that I didn't think that some of these actors could do. Like, Dave Bautista, I did not know this man could
I
be on
love
cue like that. I was like,
That was brilliant.
what is going on? You know, and I mean, just every character had their time to not only shine, but to be memorable to me as a viewer, because I didn't know what they really were. And then Bradley Cooper, like, I don't know if you sit there and like just listen to him, he does not sound like Bradley Cooper as Rocket. He does such a good job of laying like a brand new character and just like, take me, here's my money. Like, it's just so awesome. I think that one of my favorite scenes, I guess, to get back on target, is when towards the end where they all had to bunch around Groot, and like Rocket was like, no, you're gonna die, and like Groot, he kind of opened up, he was like, we are Groot. I was like, it touched me, man. It
Get
messed
right
me
in the
up.
field.
I think that's the point where I started like crying.
Yeah.
I get too emotional about superhero films.
But I think another scene would be the beginning. Just Peter Quill. Like, I mean, the introduction of his character, just his background story was really moving, you know? But when he finally got onto the scene, it was like, this dude, he's got a level of swag to him and just comedic like presence there. And like he loves his audio. He loves his radio, and I don't know, he just lit up the scene for me. Like every scene he was in, he lit it up.
I think for me though, Groot had the biggest heart of all the characters. He really did have the biggest heart. I mean, for a tree, and I said this in my review, I said I'm never going to piss off tree huggers ever again. So if I see someone hugging a tree, I'm actually going to join in with them. And I'm just going to say, I am Groot. That's all I'm going to do. Because he really had the biggest heart, especially what he did at the end there, where he protected them all and ensured that they didn't die. He sacrificed his life for them. It was just it was just phenomenal to see that. And as you said, all the characters, all of them, Gamora, Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, and Drax, they are a bunch of misfits. They're not the type of people that you actually see associating with each other. And having this film, the way that it was put together, and as you said, it does make you care about the characters. And I've seen all the trailers, and before I went to see this film, I still thought to myself, this could go either way. But it was more for the it wasn't. It's like when they did the teaser trailer, where they actually introduced the characters, because no one would have known who they were unless you read the Marvel comics. There was no way you would know who these people were. And that particular trailer introducing the characters was a really good marketing ploy, because it got you thinking, okay, this is something we've not seen before. This is definitely a Marvel film. And you actually, I have to admit, watching that film, I actually forgot that it was based on a comic book and that it was Marvel. I actually thought I was watching a sci-fi adventure. I didn't even, throughout the film, I just completely forgot it had anything to do with Marvel until Thanos popped up. It was only at that point that I realized I was watching a Marvel movie. And I was like, oh, right, right, Thanos is here. Okay, yeah. We're back to the Marvel Universe now, right. And speaking of Thanos,
oh my God,
I finally got to see a full shot of him, and Josh Brolin's voice fits it perfectly. It was just immense. It was just wonderful. So, yeah, that was good. It was pretty good.
Hey, hold on, I got to get my charger. I'm coming back.
Okay.
Come on, man.
I don't know where Adele is, man. Me?
Yeah, come on. Come on, tell us what was your favourite scene. What's yours?
I'm not very good at compiling spoiler thoughts. Like when I do a review, I'm like, yeah, this character development, characters, blah, blah, blah. But when it comes to spoilers, I blab on so much. Like when I do TV reviews, I'm like, ugh. One of my favourite scenes was towards the end when they were fighting Ronan, and basically Star-Lord burst into dance.
Yes.
Not just love that scene, I love that scene so much. And the scene between Gamora and Star-Lord, I mean, I didn't know whether I wanted there to be like a romantic connection between them. I don't know whether that happened in the comics, because I haven't read the comics, but I didn't know whether I wanted there to be that sort of romantic connection. But when she just sort of steps back and is just like, I'm an assassin and I don't do that sort of thing, and then they talk about Kevin Bacon, it was and then at the end when she's like, we are Kevin Bacon, it was so
there was so many
so
Easter eggs. It was insane.
Yeah.
It was totally insane. Again, that definitely was a good touch, man. You're right though, Rihanna. I think even I was at two minds as to whether or not there should have been some sort of romance going on between Gamora and Peter. It was just, it's one of those things. I mean, when I watch things like Arrow, for example, I'm not big on the whole ship thing. So, if people want Felicity and Oliver to get together, that's great. But, don't thrust it in my face while you're at it,
Yeah.
If they get together, that's all right. But if they suddenly split up, don't cry about it, because unfortunately that's the way relationships go. Trust me, 10 years of watching Smallville and reviewing Smallville for about 4 years, I know exactly how it feels to be on the receiving end of shippers. So, Sam knows the story on that one, but that's for another time. But yeah, again, it's just the chemistry with all the characters was just fantastic, and I particularly love the outburst between Rocket and Peter in particular, especially when they're on the ship and Peter's saying that he's got 12% of a plan. And Rocket's like, that's all you got, 12%, and Groot is like, I am Groot, and Rocket's like, so what if it's more than 11%? That's not the point here. The fact is, he hasn't got a whole plan laid out.
What is it with Marvel having 12% of something? Like,
that's
it.
it.
When Tony and Pepper have 12% of
the moment. Precisely. It was just like, oh my god, everything's 12%. Maybe that's the cut they're giving the actors after the films have been released and they're going to make a lot of money. Who knows? That's what the 12% stands for.
It
You know,
wouldn't
it's like,
surprise
right, this
me.
movie's made 300 million, you're all getting 12% of the cut. That's it.
Oh my gosh.
There's so many famous actors in Guardians of the Galaxy that you wouldn't get much left over. I mean, Lee Pace as Ronan. Like, I love Lee Pace so much. He's been one of my favorite actors forever, and I didn't even recognize him to begin with as Ronan.
No, I didn't either.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculously crazy. I mean, like, him as a villain. I quite liked him in the beginning, but I thought he was getting Nebula to do too much of his crap for him. Like, you know, the Dark Elf in Thor: The Dark World. I just thought he wasn't really a strong enough villain. And then with the presence of Thanos, because Thanos is there, you just know that he's not, well, he's the main villain, but he's not a higher power sort of thing. And then he touches the Infinity Stone, and he's like, he just thinks he's more powerful than Thanos, but really, Thanos is the real deal, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Thanos is literally Thanos is literally Marvel's answer to DC's version of Darkseid, basically.
Yeah.
So Thanos will always be in the background. He is manipulating all of these lower villains, and you know, these Infinity Stones that will eventually come together. Obviously signals that there's a potential chance that we're going to see Avengers and Guardians of the Galaxy team up and go up against Thanos. Now, if that happens, I can't see any comic book geeks surviving such a you know, a team up like that. I mean, I've always been all about Justice League appearing on the big screen, and that is going to happen, and I can't wait for it. But when you've got a team like Guardians of the Galaxy, and you've got a team like Avengers, and you put them together up against someone like Thanos, my God! Not just as a Marvel fan, but I think as a comic book fan and as a movie fan, there's not you can't handle that. There's no way we can handle that level of awesomeness. I mean, you have to do that movie in 2, maybe 3 parts, because it's going to be a long film.
Pull a Hobbit on them.
Yeah, pull a Hobbit. Yeah, you know, yes, okay, so The Hobbit's actually 1 book, but you know what? Peter Jackson decided, I'm going to make 3 films out of it, because why not?
Like, I'm going to make money, whatever, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, exactly, it's all about the money. And if you look over the past decade in particular, you know, we've had the Batman trilogy from Nolan, we've obviously had Lord of the Rings, we've also had the Harry Potter franchise, and you know, obviously the Spider-Man franchise done by Sam Raimi, and also Pirates of the Caribbean. All of these franchises, all of these films, all of these geeky, nerdy stuff that are coming out, it's because the companies are now realizing there is a market out there. Okay, we're just 1% because we are the geeks, we are the nerds. We know these characters. You've got people who have read the Harry Potter books. You've got people who have been to the Pirates of the Caribbean rides at Disney. You've got people who have read the Lord of the Rings books as well. You've got myself who've read all the DC comics, you know, and people who've read Marvel and DC, people who've just solely read Marvel comics. And we all know these characters. They are our beloved characters. And yeah, in most cases, we hate to see them be ruined. Red Runner in particular, thanks for X-Men, and Bryan Singer in a way kind of ruined Superman and Superman Returns, you know. But, and for most people, they didn't like Man of Steel either. But for me, Man of Steel was my ideal Superman film. Why? Because it's how I envisioned the characters when I read the comic books. That's his origin. That's his source material. Even Henry Cavill himself said it, that Superman was born in the comics. You know, so when people went to see the Man of Steel movie and they were disappointed it wasn't like the Christopher Reeve movie, it was like, you guys didn't hear what he said. He said he was making this movie as if none of the others existed. And it's not a case that he was saying that he didn't want to honor the movies. He just wasn't going to do what Bryan Singer did, which was carry on onto that tradition. He made his own movie. He got borrowed from different source materials of different comic books, which is what they do anyway. You watch any comic book movie and you'll recognize certain sources, certain characters, certain Easter eggs, elements, and storylines from other comic books that we have all read, or in the case of Harry Potter and The Hobbits and Lord of the Rings, they do change things a bit. They miss things out, they add things in. Because we are just that small percentage of people who will go and see them as a film. It's the average moviegoer that makes up the rest of the amount of percentage that they are selling this to. You know, the average moviegoer isn't going to sit down and read a comic book. They might decide to afterwards. You know, people who went to see the Harry Potter movies will then think, oh, I want to read the books. And people did read the books.
Yeah.
And, you know, people who've seen The Hobbit will want to read the books as well. You know, it will gauge people's interests. Mm-hmm. People will think, let's see the film first, then they read the books. And then obviously you've got the Hunger Games now.
Yes.
And, you know, how successful have they been?
They rock.
They are doing so well. The Hunger Games are doing really well. You've got Jennifer Lawrence out there leading the way, and there is our female-led films already.
Yeah.
Twilight can be argued because, you know, I love Kristen Stewart, so I'm not going to put her down or anything. But yeah, Twilight, you can argue that it's trying to be too much like this or like that. But again, Twilight done a good job. Kristen Stewart was pretty much the forefront of that as well. So Jennifer Lawrence, Kristen Stewart, and now even Shailene Woodley with Divergent.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, they are in a way leading the way for female-led films. And Scarlett Johansson with Lucy, that I know has just come out in America. It's due out here in the next couple of weeks, I think, in the UK.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely go and see that. But I know that film surpassed Hercules, which has Dwayne Johnson in.
Yeah.
That tells you that we are more interested in female-led films than we are in male-led films, which has always been the norm for the past, well, since movies have come out anyway. But every once in a while, you'll get a female-led film that will surprise everybody, and everyone will go see it. And studios are still not understanding why it is we're screaming for female-led films. Wonder Woman, Black Widow, Captain Marvel, all of these films, we want them. Yes, finally, Wonder Woman's going to appear on screen. Thank you, Warners. It took you long enough. So that's good. But at the same time, the rumor is still whether or not her solo movie is going to come out, I think they said by 2017.
Yeah, I think. Well, 2018, I think now, because I think 2017 is going to be Justice League. They said they were talking about doing it before Justice League, but I doubt it.
Yeah, I doubt it. And if they were, they've got to get their skates on now, because I know Zack Snyder's obviously going to direct Justice League, but he needs to like get things going now. You know, if he's doing both Batman v Superman and Justice League back to back, great. That's fabulous. That's fantastic. But then if you want a solo Wonder Woman movie to come out, say before Justice League or even after it, she's got to get filming like in the next year or so.
Yeah. And
so who knows?
It's like about that whole subject. Like Zack Snyder is taking this all on himself, and I think that's the huge difference between DC and Marvel right now in its current state. Like Marvel has so many directors that are set in motion to get things moving. Zack Snyder doesn't have anybody like on his backfoot. I mean, he's got now Ben Affleck if he chooses to be a director to help out to do like the Batman series and maybe do like a reboot for that. But other than that, like who are the real directors that are going to be taking the reins? I mean, they got great writers such as David Goyer. But other than that, they don't have any real creative reins like Marvel does. Like they have full reign to do whatever they really want to. And I mean, I don't know, it's funny.
Yeah, you've got a point, because that's the thing. That's the difference between Warner's and Marvel, is that Marvel, they do have their bunch of directors, people who have the creative know-how on how to bring comic book characters to screen. Yeah. And they bring in different people. They see what they're like, and it's like you say, unfortunately for Warner's at the moment, their go-to guys are David Goyer and Zack Snyder, or Christopher Nolan as well. And it's like, come on guys, you've got to broaden it out a bit more. You've got to get more people interested. You've got to get more people involved. And yeah, if their roadmap is, as we saw in the rumoured list of films that they want to bring out toward 2019 as well, they've got to really step up their game and step up to the plate of what Marvel have offered and say, okay, here's who we've got to direct Wonder Woman. Here's who we've got to direct Shazam and Green Lantern and Flash and stuff and all that sort. All of them characters. You've really got to let everybody know that you're serious about this. This is what you need to put out. And at the moment, yeah, everyone's in the dark. We don't know what's going on. Yes, Ben Affleck has the capacity to now direct a film if he so chooses. If he decides to direct the Wonder Woman movie, I'm down with that. Definitely. You know, if he decides he wants to do that, as long as because he's got a clause in his contract that says if he directs a film, he's going to be in it. Now that he's playing Batman, well, he's got every right to be in it if he wants to be.
That's
So
insane.
if he decides to direct Wonder Woman and he appears in it, even just for 5 minutes, go for it, Ben. Do what you have to. Just make a damn awesome movie, okay? If you make it Oscar-worthy, even better. You know, so yeah, they do need all these all these people to come out to the light and say, yeah, I'm doing this movie, I'm doing that movie, and we can't just have David Goyer be the only person writing. Now we've got Chris Terrio as well, who worked with Ben on, I think it was Argo, which obviously won an Oscar, and he's won the Oscar for that, for the writing. So we've got an Oscar winner writer for potentially the Justice League as well as Batman v Superman as well. So I think it's fair to say that Warners are heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
It's 10 years too late as far as I'm concerned, but they are getting there, you know. So yeah, who knows? But again, not to try and I know we've diverted
Oh,
way.
Adele's here. Sorry.
yeah.
Hi guys.
We got like 2 new people added to this.
We've got Adele, and who else have we got?
This is Chris. Chris is one of my friends. He actually has his own podcast as well. I'll let you introduce yourself, Chris.
Can we hear him?
I don't know if he can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Because I gotta use this microphone. But yeah, my name is Chris. I run my own. Well, me and 2 of my other friends, we have our own podcast called 3 Black Geeks. Been doing this technically since 2009, but we started podcasting for about, I think, 2010. Yeah, 2010 we started, like late 2010 we started podcasting and stuff. We do a lot of like old movies, anime, video games, and things of that nature. Like this summer we're doing Summer of Anime, just like, you know, some old classic anime that we watched growing up and some newer ones and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Adele.
Adele, you can introduce yourself to everybody.
Hi everybody, I'm Adele. What were we saying is part of our introduction?
Just our channels, really.
Whatever.
Okay, my channel is called Roll Credits, and I'm based in Los Angeles, but I am Australian. And yeah, I do movie reviews. I'm also a filmmaker, so I like to do some vlogging about some film events and being on set and that kind of thing as well.
Sweet.
How long have you been in America?
Was that how long I've been here? I've been here for, we're just coming up to 2 years now I've been here.
Oh.
Guys, she did a Q&A the other day. Watch it.
Yeah. Check out it.
Thank you, I did.
Now,
We're kind of having a little discussion on Marvel and DC. It's gone off topic. But
yeah,
you guys are here now.
we haven't really spoken
Okay.
much about Guardians of the Galaxy. We've probably spent about 10 minutes on the film and then sort of diverted to Marvel, DC
Well, I mean,
stuff.
Isn't that how it always diverts to anyway, Marvel versus DC? I mean,
Yeah.
I was on that train for a second, but I just kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt, honestly, because it's like, personally, me, okay, I know Green Lantern was technically supposed to be their start of their universe, and it flopped bad and stuff. I'm still one of probably the only small amount of people that feel that they can definitely bring that movie into the fold of their current movies, but kind of do like an Incredible Hulk with it, where they just pick certain elements of that movie that worked and just ditch the other stuff, you know, and things like that. But I mean, if they want to separate themselves from it, that's fine. It's whatever. But like I said, I've pretty much made my peace with the fact DC's going to do their thing, knock themselves out. I don't care. It's like whatever. If we get it, we get it. It's whatever. If they got dates, they got dates. If they don't, fine. Doesn't matter. So.
We just had a whole discussion.
We've pretty much said the same thing.
Yeah.
But I guess I could chime in on my Guardians opinions.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
please.
let's do it.
We're gonna be here for like 2 hours at
It's a
this.
change for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. I'll say it real quick. Yeah, I like the movie. Yeah, I actually think it was kind of. I'm not gonna say it shocked me because, like I said, I read the comics, so everything about that movie played true to what it is in the comics. I had some people that never read the Guardians comics, so they weren't for sure whether the characters in the movie were like the comics and stuff. And I just told them, yeah, they pretty much are just like the comics. So, it's all good. Yeah, I think my only complaint, it's kind of more so a nitpick. I'm a fan of Ronan the Accuser, so I don't know if you guys are spoiling or anything like that, but
Oh yeah, we are.
Yeah,
okay.
this is all spoilers. Anything goes.
Okay. I didn't like the aspect of him getting killed because I think, and then, like I said again, I have a comic book connection, so I know the character. Because Ronan is a very multi kind of faceted character in the comics and stuff. He isn't really a bad guy per se, but he will be that bad guy if you cross him. So
Yeah.
I was kind of a little iffy that they killed him, but it was like whatever.
What stone
It
is
is
that?
what it is. Huh?
Which Infinity Stone was that? Because I was
Power.
trying to go through it.
There's Power, I think. Yeah,
Okay.
Power. Tesseract was space, and I believe the Aster was. Which one
You
was
talking
it?
about the After from Thor 2, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot what that one was, but pretty much Tesseract was space, and that one was Power.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, like I said, the movie.
wondering if it actually killed him or not. That's why I was trying to figure out which stone it was specifically.
Yeah, I mean, most people were going by colors, but they really switched around the colors on which gem does what. So, because I think space in the comic was purple, and Power was red.
Yeah.
So, they switched around a lot. And I think time was blue. So they switched around a lot of the colors and stuff. But yeah, this movie had a lot of very kind of Easter eggs and stuff. Like we actually saw an actual Celestial in the movie.
Yeah.
And not too many caught that. It's like, yeah, that's a Celestial. So, and I mentioned it to somebody that movie they don't necessarily have to have Galactus in that movie if they need somebody to be that character. If they continue on with these movies, and they can just use some random Celestial nobody knows of, as that Galactus stand-in and stuff. So, yeah, but I enjoyed the movie. I think it's one of Marvel's strongest movies and stuff. So. I still
Someone
like
explain
Cat
to
2
me
a
what
little
a Celestial is, please.
Yeah, I as well. I don't have a comic book background, and I don't know
Yeah,
the
me
universe
neither.
outside of what the Marvel studio has put out in their films. So.
Yeah.
Explain Celestial, CJ.
Huh?
They want you to explain Celestial, please.
If I remember correctly, Celestials in the comics, they were the ones that kind of introduced, they actually came to Earth and actually kind of brought together civilization, so to speak, in the comics and stuff. But pretty much Celestials and just Celestials in nutshells, like Galactus from Fantastic Four, he's a Celestial, pretty much.
So
Okay.
So really, you could say that they're DC version of the Guardians of Oa.
Kind of like that. I mean, they're very omnipotent, very powerful beings and stuff. It's very they're very detailed. Even the current space arc now, they just finished up with Infinity and stuff. There are other people other than Celestials out there that are just as much powerful and stuff. It's very depth and stuff. So for the most part, they are very powerful beings. So it was kind of amazing that they threw that in there, especially with Nowhere and all that stuff, and they had that little explanation that it was a former Celestial that got killed. So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Okay, I get you. We've got someone else in the conversation. Do you guys see this too?
Who do we
Yes,
have?
hi Ash.
Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me?
Oh,
Barely.
I'm meeting so many new people
Yeah, we can hear
today.
you.
I
How about
know.
now?
This is Ash from Colorado. Ash, please introduce yourself.
Hi, can we hear me? Is this a thing?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
We can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I am Ash. I am from the Captain Vitus show, and Adele told me to come here, so I came here. Yeah. Well, yeah. What are we talking about? We're talking about books or cats?
We're spoiling Guardians of the Galaxy, but at the same
We're trying to.
DC, Marvel, and other franchises that have been out for the past 10, 15, maybe 30 odd years as well. So yeah.
Oh, really?
General discussion.
Yeah. But I just want to quickly say though, on the back of what CJ said about the film, how many of you were actually quite pleased with the end credits? Because for me, I thought that Howard the Duck appearing at the end there was a fabulous touch for Marvel. It might have been a bit of a piss take in some sense, but for me, I thought it was a really nice touch because that was their first Marvel film from
Exactly.
1985.
Yeah.
You know, that's Marvel's first foray into comic book movies. Whereas, you know, DC, as I've already mentioned, you know, they had Superman the movie in 1978, but if we were to go a bit further back, you've obviously got the Batman film from 1966, and further back then, you go back to as early as the 40s with the George Reeves Superman TV serial that they did as well, and there was even one with Kirk Allen in there as well, I believe. So Warner's and DC have been going a long time, but for me, I thought that Howard the Duck appearing in there was quite a nice touch. I know a lot of people weren't pleased about it, but I want to know what you guys thought.
I thought it was a great homage because the fact that, I mean, what was it, the 1988 version, like, it's really only got a cult following. A lot of people didn't like it, didn't do good at the box office, but I knew that Howard was a Marvel character, and a lot of people didn't. And so just his small touch, I think that actually Seth Green voiced Howard the Duck, believe it or not.
Yeah, everybody thought it was Nathan Fillion was going to be Howard the Duck.
Exactly.
Apparently,
That's what it was about.
yeah, apparently Nathan Fillion voiced the blue guy that was telling Peter Quill that he was fresh meat. Apparently,
Yeah.
apparently that was Nathan Fillion, which I thought was funny. I was like, wow, I didn't catch the voice.
I didn't catch the voice either. Do you know what? I actually totally forgot that Nathan Fillion was voicing someone in this film, to be honest.
I forgot
The
that
rumor
too.
was
I
like,
remember hearing
hey, he was going to be Nova, and then I was like, Nova? I'm like, all right, whatever and stuff. And then like after the movie came out, somebody was like, yeah, he was the blue guy that confronted Peter Quill. I was like, oh, well, all right, that's cool.
But I love that tribute. It was them paying respect to Howard the Duck as a character, as a forerunner for them, just in taking that risk. And this, to me, exemplified that. Like, them doing the Guardians of the Galaxy, just period, is taking a risk. You know what I'm saying? I mean, to me, that opens up doors for them possibly to make something like a Planet Hulk one day. You know what I'm saying? Just from that kind of level of just going out there. And so for them also, they could use Howard as kind of like, I think somebody has said it on AMC Movie News that maybe they could have him like Nick Fury going in and out of stuff that they do with like on the galaxy kind of like characters. And so just having them in there, period, they could do
Howard
whatever
the
they want
Duck
to with
had a
Howard.
shield.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, that opened up a lot of stuff because like they were like I sat there and I think Marvel, like it was about 4 years ago, they had like was it Agents of Sword or whatever in the comics.
Yeah.
And what it was is it was like Howard the Duck and Machine Man. I think it had Howard the Duck and Machine Man. They were fighting like the Marvel zombies and stuff. It was very weird and obscure as hell. I was like, wow, I forgot that they had Howard the Duck. So when they put that at the end, I'll be honest with you, there were some people that caught the reference. Like, oh, Howard the Duck. There was some people who were like, what the F? What was that? I don't know, you know. And people didn't know how to handle it because we're used to this
That was
being
me.
the progression. And then
Yeah,
it's like,
same Adele, same.
this, you know,
I didn't know
So-
how to handle that grungy ass
I'm glad someone else didn't get it either.
I mean, but it fits James Gunn's MO though. Honestly, that was a James Gunn kind of humor. Right
Yeah.
there.
I was
Okay.
really surprised because when I went to see the film on Thursday night, and I remember walking into the cinema, and there was 3 ladies sat to my left, and as they sat down, the guy who was working in the cinema sitting them down said, "Oh, I'm not sure if you've seen a Marvel movie before, but you know, stay at the end of the credits because something awesome is definitely going to happen." And when Howard the Duck showed up, I could actually hear everybody going, "What the hell was that?" But I just sat there and went, holy shit, it's Howard the Duck. I did not expect Howard T. Duck to appear in a Marvel film. And it was incredible. But everybody else was like, there was a duck at the end of this film. Why is there a duck? Well, you know, it wasn't Daffy Duck, that's for sure. And it wasn't Donald Duck. Hey, it could have been Donald Duck, considering it is Disney Marvel. That could have been something interesting, but no, they went with Howard instead, and it confused everybody that didn't know anything about the comics or Marvel or Howard himself. So, but yeah, like I said, I thought it was really, really nice touch and very very good to pay, that sort of respect in some ways to Howard, because that's the first we've heard of him since 1985. So bring it on.
Yeah. I was wondering though, what was we had talked about it earlier, like some of our favorite scenes from it. I know it's like 3 new people in it, and Joe just came back. What's one of your favorite like scenes from Guardians of the Galaxy? It might be one of ours too.
I'd probably say Thanos pretty much calling Ronan boy and just straight up just embarrassing him the whole time. It's like, wow, like I don't know. I just like the idea of just like Brolin actually voicing him, and he actually did a pretty good job of just showing that Thanos doesn't care who you are. He's just gonna disrespect you because he doesn't care. So
yeah,
that reveal alone just had everybody like, oh my god, this is awesome. Like it was just an extension of what you saw at the end of Avengers, and it's like, wow, this guy is that big. I can't wait to see him in motion and actually punching somebody, and so especially if him and Drax fight, that's going to be the fun fight right there. So.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Drax. Everyone's not talking about Drax. I love
Drax
him.
was awesome.
Would you talk about Drax then, Rihanna? Tell us what you thought.
I just love that. Like, I mean, we found out each individual character's background, and like some people didn't really get the whole revenge plot thing. They didn't really get that Drax hated Thanos and Ronan that badly. But I felt it, and just the way he takes things. They all take things so literally. Like when Gamora and Star-Lord were talking, and they were saying that they all had sticks up their butts, and she was like, "That's so mean." I just love how they all take this so seriously, and the conversation between like Rocket and Drax,
Footloose references.
Fantastic. Yes, we were talking about that. That was one of my favourite scenes. and the one at the end when Chris Pratt just burst out dancing, and he's like, "What are you doing? It's distracting you."
I love these pelvic moves, though. Bless him, Chris Pratt.
Pelvic sorcery.
I'm going nightclubbing with that guy because he can move. Brilliant. So, what about you, Ashton? What was your favourite scene?
Well, can you guys still hear me? I feel like you can't hear me.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I really liked the prison scene where they were escaping from the prison. Like, in Rocket, it's like, I need this and that and that. I need to get this thing last. And of course, Groot is in the back and he's just pulls it out. And I saw that scene that's the scene I saw at the Minute event or whatever. I don't know if any of you guys went to that, but it was awesome. Like, I loved that scene.
I just love when he was talking about like saying that he needed the guy's leg and that he didn't really need it. And then at the end with the eye, he was just like, "No, I don't really need it." So good.
Oh, dear. What about you, Adele? What was your favourite scene?
I have to agree with Ashton, because I thought that everything in the prison, for me, it was the best blend of comedy versus like that adrenaline of that prison escape. I just thought that was the best mash. I loved everything in the prison.
Yeah.
Cool.
What about you, Jeff?
It's kind of amazing.
I would say my favorite scene is probably the one with your boy Yandu. When he took out the little weapon, he's like whistling, taking all these guys out.
He took out all those bad guys just whistling, just that thing just flying around, and it's like very effective. I'd like to use that one day.
Yeah,
that's another thing that's true to the form of the character in the comic too. That's because I never knew about Yondu, so like looking it up on Wikipedia, I was like, oh, so that he actually does do that in the comic. Wow.
Yeah,
all right. I just thought it was something they just made up. I was like, they just make this up. All right, whatever. I'm fine with it. That's cool.
Yeah,
but
man.
we haven't spoken about Karen Gillan's character Nebula, who I thought
I love her.
he was hardcore. She was absolutely hardcore. I mean, I did not expect some of the fight scenes that I saw, what she was doing and everything. Her going up against Gamora was just brilliant. Those two
crazy.
And just knowing that they're both adopted daughters of Thanos as well was just incredible. It's like, seriously, dude? And again, that borrows again from DC's dark side, because he's got like adopted sons and daughters as well. Caliban, Steppenwolf, Big Barda, Scott Free. You know, they're all adopted children of Darkseid. So quite surprisingly, I was actually quite surprised that Thanos himself had adopted children as well.
Yeah.
But thinking about it now, it's like, okay, that's a sort of like the same sort of element as what DC have with Darkseid. But again, just seeing the way that Karen Gillan, and the fact that she even shaved her hair to be in character, just a testament of just how serious she was about the role.
Practical
I'm
effects
glad
too.
she finished Doctor Who before then.
Yeah.
I mean, she had to wear a wig in one of the episodes, and I was like, they both had shaved heads because Matt Smith shaved his head as well. I was like, nice wig, guys, nice wig.
Oh, yeah, that was brilliant.
man.
Yeah, no,
Great.
Nebula was she was hardcore. She was
Yeah.
hardcore. But we're definitely going to see her again because she didn't die, did she?
No,
Nah.
she didn't.
No, she
Yeah,
drove on
she
her little
fell down.
plane.
That's
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
That's one of those characters. It's like I gotta report this back to Thanos, so I gotta fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'll be back.
Cut off her arms. So.
And they said Guardians of the Galaxy will be back, and I thought it was just going to be a standalone movie, so I don't know what's going on. Like, are they going to have their own different
Well,
movies independently?
Yeah. Well, the sequel has definitely been announced.
Yeah, it got announced at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
I mean, the
27.
movie is standalone for like Phase 2 because they made it known like, hey, you know, there's no way this movie is going to tie into Avengers 2. We're making it standalone because let's be honest with you, their mission statement was pretty much, hey, we got to introduce this cosmic part of the universe. We have to. They had to do that because if they didn't, then you would have been like, well, who's this Thanos guy? Where is he from? And then this movie was like, okay, here's who Thanos is. He's a person that everybody in the galaxy knows. Obviously, everybody knows Ronan. That was the cool thing about it. You didn't need a backstory on Ronan because everybody knew who he was. They feared him. So that's another element a lot of people... I mean, that's kind of what I liked about Ronan is that you didn't need like a full-blown like 30-minute backstory on him. It was just, okay, this is who he is. He doesn't like these people on this planet, and he's just going to kill them. Done.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah, pretty straightforward, wasn't it? And
Yeah.
Lee Pace as well. We already talked about Lee Pace, I won't get into it with him.
I never knew who Lee Pace was. I wasn't familiar with anything like that. So like I just now watched a show on AMC that he's in. I guess about like the computers or whatever. I guess.
Oh yeah, man.
Yeah. So I was like, oh.
Catch Fire, yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't
Yeah.
familiar with him, but he did a pretty good job as Ronan. I really liked the outfit and the makeup and all that stuff.
Yeah,
And
I
then
think
the
he did
Hobbit
a
too.
he did a really great
Sorry,
job
Karen.
as Ronan. But I have to say that I could have used a little bit of a backstory. I mean, it was obvious that he didn't like this planet and he wanted to destroy it. But as somebody who doesn't know the universe at all, I could have used a way to sort of, I don't know, get where he was coming from. Because when Thanos said he was like a when Thanos says to him he's a spoiled child, that kind of took away any sense of danger from Ronan, because from that point on I did see him as a bit like a spoiled child or a bit of a brat just trying to upstart for no real reason, and I thought it lost some of that danger.
Yeah, I mean that's what I said. It was like that's why I felt like in the comics he's a little bit better than that. I mean he still got kind of bad mouth by Thanos even in the comics and stuff, but there was still that kind of element to him where it's like if you crossed him he will try to kill you. Otherwise he'll back off and not bother you and stuff. So I mean they took a little bit of liberties with him. So it's like I'm not that mad because like I said, Marvel Cosmic has like more bad guys than just just Ronan. So there are other bad guys they can use, and just hopefully they kind of build up off that and just, like you said, just kind of better inform the audience of who this guy is and stuff instead of just making the audience assume we know who he is and stuff. So
Yeah, I feel like they did that on purpose though to get people intrigued about going to the comics, going to the mythos of who these people are, because it's like looking at Ronan as a character, it made me go back and IMDb him immediately. Like, who is this character? You know what I'm saying? And so I think that Marvel does that best with characters you do not know. Like Rocket, I guarantee you most of the kids and a lot of the adults are going to go back and find out who is this Rocket. And I think that's probably why they left a lot open for it. But I wish they hadn't killed the character, because if they hadn't killed the character, then they could go more into it in another movie.
Oh, I knew they were going to have to kill someone. I just didn't know who it was going to be. I just knew it was going to happen. There were so many opportunities. I thought, oh god, no, they can't do this to me. I've only just started to love this character, and now they're going to kill them. But yeah, Groot was probably the most lovable out of them.
Of course.
Because
still
he
can't
hardly
believe Vin
says
Diesel
anything,
did
and you just love him.
Well, Van Diesel did a good job with the Iron Giant, though. Like, he just put subtle words in such a way that it emoted through just a small amount of words, and I think that's probably why they picked him for it. I mean, I'm not sure if he did the motion capture or not for Groot, but I knew
He did. I'm hoping it is. I've been looking online to see if he actually did any like facial mocap for it, because that would make sense.
I believe
read,
it's
like,
some.
I don't think he did. Yeah, I heard that
James
someone else
Gunn's
did
brother
that.
did it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading on
Whatever his
IMDb
face,
trivia,
yeah, he
and
did it.
James Gunn's brother was doing some of it.
Oh, right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't even
know
notice
he
even Bradley Cooper did a pretty good job of masking his voice, because you would never know that.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Well, like, just because I knew it was Bradley Cooper, you saw that image. Like, it's like when you read a book that's already got a movie adaptation coming out, and like you see that character as that person, like you kind of just hear Bradley Cooper in the voice, sort of thing. It was just one of those things. I mean, he did a really good job with it, but I just knew in the back of my mind it's Bradley Cooper, and the kind of problems like with the the voices of Groot and Rocket Raccoon is that I was really worried they weren't going to make them like independent enough, because that way anyone could have done them, sort of thing. But I thought that they were really good choices for them. I mean, I know there's a lot of big names like Vin Diesel. I mean, that could have gone terribly wrong, and you could have just had some person who had never been cast in a film ever just say I am Groot, sort of thing. But I thought Vin Diesel was a pretty good choice.
Yeah. And it's like Vin Diesel's not the best actor out there, but his voice is insane. Like, it's insane good. So it's like, why not?
You could read me a bedtime story, for sure.
Let's see how many A-list celebrities we can fit into one movie, sort of thing. We had like Glenn Close and John C. Reilly, and it was just ridiculous how many people.
The cast was impressive, I have to admit. It was a very impressive cast, and it goes back again to looking at the difference between Marvel and Warner's and how they do their superhero movies. You know, Marvel are bringing out the big names. I mean, when Robert Downey Jr. was announced as playing Iron Man, everybody actually thought, really? And then we were like, naturally, yeah, we'll wait and see how this does, how this works out.
I don't know, it was worse than that.
Yeah.
It was worse. I mean, you're talking Robert Downey, the guy that falls asleep in other celebrities' houses and is on drugs, and it's like, can we use this guy in Iron Man? I don't know.
That's exactly my point. It's because of that past history of his that everybody was thinking, oh, have they made the right choice here? Is this a good idea? And they weren't saying that he was a bad actor. It was just a case of, is he the right person? Has he got the right image? And you know what? 6 years later, he is Tony Stark. He is Iron Man.
Exactly.
You cannot argue with that. And then, you've got Hugh Jackman as well as Logan, Wolverine. We all remember what happened when Heath Ledger was cast as the Joker. And even most recent, Ben Affleck and now Gal Gadot as well. All these casting news, whenever they get announced, we as geeks and nerds, we're all like, why? For the love of geek gods out there, why are they doing this to us? Why are they ruining our characters like this? And it's like, well, at the end of the day, we're prejudging, and that's what we're good at, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We just need to take a little bit of a time out, sit back, and just be like, you know what? Let's just wait and see.
Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do. I mean, that's the problem. We as geek culture, I'll say this before I go because I gotta go, but I think we as geeks and stuff, we have over the years up until these Marvel movies and everything started blowing up at Comic-Cons, we've been like holding these properties to our chest like these are sacred treasures and stuff. And then when Hollywood touches it and stuff, we're so afraid. And I mean, at certain times it's understandable because we've had some bad movies. I mean, say what you will, even like Elektra, your Fantastic Four movies, even back in the 90s with the Captain America movie and stuff. It's just, people just want good movies, and they don't realize you're getting good movies and stuff, whether you like the casting or not. And it's just, they can't accept that. I mean, even Gal Gadot, my only thing is like, hey, can she act? That's my only thing. She has a look. I'm just saying, can she act? So I'm willing to suspend belief and see where these people can do it, because obviously there's a reason they're casting these people. Because there's a reason we as geeks aren't the ones that are in the casting chair saying, okay, this person should do it. They see something, we don't, so we just gotta let it rock and see how it goes. That's the only thing we can do. So.
Yeah. It's exactly the same like a book to movie adaptation. Like, because I haven't read the comics, I'm trying to make comparisons. Like, if I've got a book that I really love and they're making it into a film, and then I hear a piece of fast news, and I'm just like, no, that's not the right person to do it, sort of thing. And that's exactly the same for you guys in comic book movies.
Yeah, I mean, my brother was the same way with the Harry Potter movies and stuff, and I got it because, like I said, he read the Harry Potter books, and a lot of people that read the books liked the movies and stuff, but they did notice they edited out certain things that some things were important, some things weren't, but they didn't like outright hate the movies and stuff. So it's possible to kind of find that balance to appease the fans that write the books and appease people that never really read the books. So
yeah, exactly.
So
yeah. So I mean, since we've been talking around like the actors, like how did y'all think about like everybody, how they did their role as far as the characters? We don't know that much about the characters, but just all around, how do you think the acting really was?
I'm glad we're getting back to Guardians of the Galaxy. We keep going off topic.
No, it's good. I mean, all the characters, like I said, they did pretty good. I mean, would I have liked to see Drax even more like brooding than he was? Maybe, but I think what they did with Drax, it was funny because you can't just have. I mean, my only challenge, I think, I know most people want Marvel to make an actual serious movie with that's not like using comedy as a crutch. You know, and I think they can do it. It just depends on the movie that they're doing. I think with Guardians, you couldn't play that as a straight movie. You had to put some comedy into it to get people kind of ease into that world. Because if they played everything straight, I think most people have been like, it's all right, it's just a sci-fi movie. But to put that like, because I mean, to play it straight, you have to literally play Groot as a straight, like as a character. Like you would not believe Groot is a legit character if you didn't play it for laughs. You couldn't. Even with Rocket Raccoon, you couldn't play Rocket Raccoon as a straight character. You couldn't. It's impossible. So you had to put that comedy in there and stuff. So, I mean, I think later on, I think Doctor Strange will probably be the one that you're going to find that being very serious movie, honestly. So, but anyways, I will catch you guys later. Thanks for having me on, and take you guys later.
Bye.
Nice meeting you.
Nice
Bye.
Right. Yeah, no, he's got a point there. What he just said there about the characters. It's like you look at people like Groot and Rocket, and it's like you can't do serious. It needs, you know, yes, there was emotion, there was heart, and everything with the feels that the, you know, Rocket in particular when he spoke about what they'd done to him and you know how they tore him apart and put him inside out and modified him. He didn't want that happening to him. The name calling that he got from Drax, being called a vermin, and how Gamora was calling him rodent, this, that, and the other, and it touched him, it hurt him. But he has to. But you know, they all have this front that they put on, which is why the comedy works so well with the film because it just flows naturally. It didn't feel forced or anything. It just flowed naturally with all of the characters. And even when Groot didn't say anything, his actions were what made people laugh at the end of the day. Like Ashton said earlier with the prison scene where he was in the background and pulling off the thing off the wall whilst Rocket was telling Gamora and Peter the plan. And it's those sort of things those are the sort of things that I love about the film, is that all those little hidden gems that were so funny that you just wouldn't expect. You know, at times it felt like you were watching a bit of a parody film as well.
Yeah.
You know, it was like a parody within itself. It was funny, but it had action. It had emotion, but again, at the same time, it was quirky. It was ridiculous. It's like, this is something that we've never seen before, and it was great to see. And but for me, it's like I can't envision anybody else voicing or playing these characters. You know, if they would decide to change the cast for the second movie, I would actually be very disappointed, because the way I see it, Chris Pratt has done well as Star-Lord, and Zoe Saldana as Gamora, and, you know, as we've already established, Rocket Raccoon being voiced by Bradley Cooper was just phenomenal, and everybody did their part. So yeah, I'll be very disappointed if they decide to change anybody for the sequel. So let's hope that doesn't happen, because we've seen a few movies like that where certain characters have been changed at the last minute from their actors. You know, we know that Thor: The Dark World, unfortunately, Josh Dallas couldn't continue his role as what was his name? Was it Thandor?
Thor is played by Zachary Levi.
Yeah, now he's obviously played by Zachary Levi, and Zachary did an alright job, but I think the character was made for Josh at the end of the day. But unfortunately, he kept on doing Once Upon a Time, so that's understandable. You know, commitments happen, scheduling will be conflicted, you know, so it's like, okay, fine, let him go, whatever. But yeah,
I mean, it's not it's not as drastic as if like you changed the actor for Loki, because Tom Hiddleston is Loki. You literally couldn't find anyone better to play Loki.
Agreed.
So, like,
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
With another Guardian movie, it's just building these characters with the same actors sort of thing. It's like the journey that Marvel have taken with Iron Man and Thor and all of those continuing on. I mean, they're going to change Captain America to Anthony Mackie now, and they're going to do Lady Thor and all that. It's just going to have to be a different sort of chapter, really.
It will be, I agree. I mean, if you look at The Amazing Spider-Man, for example, we know that, you know, Andrew Garfield won't continue to play the character for a long time. Who knows that maybe by Sinister Six, if Spider-Man features in that film, which I hope he does, we might then see someone take over as Spider-Man come the third movie. You know, I'm not saying that we won't see Andrew Garfield in the third movie. We'll still see him, but he might then pass on, you know, the costume to somebody else. Yeah. And as you mentioned there, obviously, you know, in the comics now, yes, Falcon is now Captain America. We're getting a female Thor. Can all these be translated to the film? Again, is that what Marvel Studios are heading towards? I don't think so, because they're not gonna dig out. They're not gonna follow everything in the comics. We're probably not going to see Anthony Mackie become Captain America on film. He's still going to be Falcon. We're still going to see Chris Evans as Captain America on film. We're still going to see Chris Hemsworth as Thor on film as well, because that's the film side. They've got that road mapped out. And in the comics, as is often is said, nobody stays dead in the comics forever. And I can't see a female Thor lasting a long time in the comics either. And I also can't see Sam Wilson being Captain America for a while in the comics as well. Same as they want to kill Wolverine in the comics. I can't see him being dead for a long time either. Eventually, these characters will come back. Thor will be back as himself. Captain America will be Steve Rogers. Wolverine will be back as well. This is what happens in comics. Whether it takes 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or in a case of DC's Barry Allen, who was killed back in 1985, only returned back in 2009. Now, that's a long time for a character to stay dead, to be perfectly honest. So, things can change, yes, but I can't see what's been done in the comics will relate or translate to film directly, because it will confuse people. I mean, the average moviegoer will probably go to a film to see Thor, and then suddenly there's a female version. They'll be like, "Whoa, what, why, what's happened here?" You know, there's got to be a good explanation for it. First of all, you can't just suddenly bring in a female version of Thor and not have any particular story behind as to why she is suddenly wielding the hammer. And, you know, now you've got a black guy playing Captain America. It's got to be like, no, we have to explain the reason behind it. And those are the sort of things that will confuse people. So Marvel Studios will stick with what they've got. They will go as they are now, plan ahead as best as they can, because in comics, anything can change. Anything can happen. Who knows? We don't know what's going to happen between now and the next 10 years in comics. So, yeah, who knows?
Okay. Shall we... what else can we talk about spoiler-wise, guys?
I was thinking about the reason why I kind of brought up like Peter. Well, I was bringing up like about the characters and acting. I thought that the way that Chris Pratt portrayed Peter Quill, I thought it was just amazing. Like I fell in love with the character because I didn't know anything about him. I mean, I had seen a couple of like cartoons with the character Star-Lord in it. But from the fact of his backstory in the beginning, and then just the middle section of him kind of feeling like kind of a Han Solo kind of S character, but not. Yeah. Like, it was totally different. It wasn't like Han Solo. It was a real heart to him. But at the same time, I felt like this guy was not pure human. You know what I'm saying? And from the fact that now I'm interested to see who is his. And I mean, I could go into comic books and like be spoiled by it, but because the way that he portrayed the character so well, I will wait until 2017 just to see it unfold in front of my eyes. You know,
Yeah.
and I mean, just thinking about that, like who is his dad? Like, what is going to happen with the fact that Thanos? I mean, another spoiler thing that I was thinking about talking about was that Thanos let Ronan get that stone. Like, he didn't just like. I mean, Ronan's like, I got the stone now. What are you gonna do, XYZ? He just cut the feet on him. Like, he's like, it's a means to end. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, he's like, okay, he's gonna mess this up, and I'm gonna get the stone anyway. Right. It doesn't really matter. You know, so what is it that Thanos has in the back of his head for the Guardians? I mean, he has to know everything. I mean, he has an intellectual thought process above Bruce Banner and Tony Stark together. And he's got the strength of the Hulk. So he knows who the Guardians are, especially at this point. So, I mean, I'm thinking like he's laying his ground level up. And at the same time, I'm thinking about who is Peter Quill's dad. So, I mean, these questions are going on in my head.
Yeah. Well, that's a good question. Yeah, I mean, even I was very surprised to learn that Peter Quill isn't actually a full human, and it was at the beginning in particular when he was just suddenly abducted, and then obviously Yondo was explaining to him how I took you when you were young, and he was saying back to him, well, you abducted me, this, that, and the other, and then we find out later on after Peter betrayed him with the Infinity Stone, how he was telling his other crew member, oh yeah, if he found out that his dad told us to come and get him, he wouldn't be very happy. And I was like, wait, what? You're telling me that Peter's dad told you to come after him when he was just about 10 years old, and you didn't even think to tell him that his dad is still alive, that he's out there somewhere in the universe? And then obviously when the people on Nova then told him that they scanned his body and found out that he wasn't fully human, I was just like, I now want to know who his dad is. And that was the thing about when I said in my review, I said I would really love to know the full backstory about Peter. I want to know who his dad is, how he even came to become, to arrived on Earth and got with his mom and this, that, and the other. And what was the reason for his mum dying again?
I think
she had cancer.
Yeah.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah, because she was bald.
Yeah. So right. So that again, why didn't he come back for her? Could he have the ability to save her in some sense as well? Was there a way that he could prevent her from dying? Did he know that she had cancer? These are the sort of things I want to know about Peter.
I mean, did he cause it?
That's the other thing I was thinking. Maybe he caused it, unintentionally, perhaps.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where it could have been unintentional, but again, if and when Peter does find his dad, it'll be interesting to see how those two really do get along. Yeah. So yeah, be interesting.
I think we're meeting Dad and Guardians too. Honestly, like
I hope so.
I don't know where else we go.
Like the central plot. Go on.
Who do you think could play Dad, though? That's a good question.
Oh, God.
I
don't know.
Is that the way it is in the comics?
I don't know. I've never read it.
Oh,
that's the thing.
See, we've lost CJ, and now we don't know.
Yeah, that one. But honestly, if I was to pick someone to play his dad, I would either go for Harrison Ford or Mel Gibson. I don't know why. Just one of those two.
What about Bruce Willis?
I think Harrison Ford is a better fit. As you said, there was a Han Solo-esque about Peter Quill. So I think Harrison Ford would probably be the better fit as his dad. Who knows? We don't know.
I don't know whether that would be too high.
I do think he's a bit busy with a little other movie. It's a little known movie. I don't know if you heard about it. It's called Star Wars. So,
yeah.
Yeah. Is it filming delayed because he broke his ankle or something?
He's back to normal now. He's all healed up now. He's walking again. So,
okay.
Yeah.
They're filming over here in the UK, aren't they?
They are. Yes.
Sorry, guys in America. We have stupid. So cool.
They've been over there for a while now filming.
Actually, filmed all of Guardians of the Galaxy over here.
They have been. Yes, that's true. They filmed most of Guardians in the UK, so that was good.
They filmed so much here. I mean, they were filming Avengers Age of Ultron at my friend's university in Norfolk, so that was just Crazy.
That's surreal, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, they used my university in Thor 2: The Dark World, you know, when they were in Greenwich
Yeah.
at the
Oh,
end.
really?
Yeah, that's my
awesome.
university. It's ridiculous.
I used to
I
get
was
I was at university every day going to school when I was younger. So strange seeing it on
I was
TV.
telling Sam that one of my friends spilled coffee over Christmas worth while they were filming.
Oh my god.
That's
That's a good way to start talking with him.
Yeah, that's the claim to fame for them right there.
Wow. They
I
do
had a-
Oh, my bad.
I had a point and now it's gone. Damn it.
Mm.
Oh, it's gone.
You'll get
I had a point. Someone keep talking and maybe I'll
What was it
remind
to do
remind
with?
it.
What was the point to do with?
We were talking about Peter Quill's dad, and we were talking about
Who we brought to
I-
play him or something? Yeah.
Was it about who was going to play him, or the fact that
Yeah.
he could have killed his mother unintentionally?
Yeah, that. Yeah, it's just. I think he might be like a central plot line in Guardians 2, probably.
Yeah.
Because that's the big thing. Like, who is Peter Quill's dad? Why is he Why is he not fully human, sort of thing?
hmm
The point is gone.
Oh,
It's
don't worry,
gone.
he'll get it back.
Gone forever.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to have to head off now because it's like midnight here, and I've got to get to work. So, but honestly, this has been awesome. It's been great meeting some new faces as well. Rihanna, Adele, Ashton. Pleasure meeting you all. So I've all added you in my circles as well. So yeah.
Again sometime. I mean, what's the next sort of big thing coming out?
Ninja Turtles. And
Yeah,
Ninja Turtles.
Oh.
The problem with that is it's not out in the UK until October.
Oh God, it's so
so it
annoying.
kind of sucks. But we have got obviously the Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies.
We do. I think is that out here before?
There, I think
After.
the worldwide release date.
when
is it
is
the
it?
same?
Yeah.
It's December.
I think 14th, I believe.
Yeah, sounds about right.
I think December, or maybe it may even be 19th. I can't remember.
Yeah.
See.
I mean, like, obviously when Avengers Age of Ultron comes out, we can all talk about that, but that's, like, next year, so
Yeah.
it's a long wait. But, yeah, the next sort of big one, Ninja Turtles, if you guys are into other things other than comic books.
So the Hobbit's actually out on the 12th of December here in the UK, and then for 17th of December for you guys in America, so 5 days later. So that's a bit... Well, that's not too bad, though. It's only 5 days difference, I suppose.
Yeah,
but,
at least it's not like a month like some films. Just
yeah, that's true. That's true.
had
But
to
I guess
wait a month for Division.
Yeah. Well, the next big comic book movie will be Avengers: Age of Ultron. So.
Is anybody excited for Sin City though? A Dame to Kill For?
Yes.
I'm excited for Sin City.
Sin City. I'm so excited.
Sin City.
Thing.
Have a massive girl crush on Eva Green. I'm just so excited. So excited.
Penny Dreadful though, Adele.
I have one on Joe's
Penny
recording.
Dreadful, you and me, Rihanna.
Party.
Yeah, we got this. I love her so much. Like, did you see 300 Rise of Empire Man?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that woman is. Maybe we could do one on that then.
Well, okay. Well, Sin City's out in the UK on right. You're gonna love this, right? This is fun, right? It's out in America on the 22nd of August, right?
Yeah.
It's out in the UK on the same day, but in London. And the rest of the UK doesn't get it until the 25th of August.
What?
That would be me.
I know. So
You
yeah.
guys have all of these as well.
But we can
That's
still do
fine.
that. That's not too bad though. That will still
If
put
you
us
guys
in.
can keep your thoughts.
Well, we can do it for. We can pencil it in. Well, actually, I'm off for the whole week that it's going to be on. So anytime's good for me from the 25th onwards.
I think so too, actually. I'm not going to be in London, but I will definitely see it day of, day after.
Yeah.
And if you guys can just sort of keep your thoughts in,
Then
just
we
for
can.
a few more days.
Yeah, that'll be fine. I'm down with that. We can certainly do that.
Awesome. Okay,
Cool.
that sounds good.
Brilliant. Right then. Well, anyway, it's good night from me. So.
Okay.
It's all
Bye.
later.
Bye.
Alright.
Take care.
Bye.
Later, man.
Goodbye.
Are we all signing off as well, or do we have more to talk about?
Wow.
I feel like we talked a lot about the Marvel universe, but I don't think we really focused much on the actual film. So I didn't feel like I was able to talk enough because I don't know the universe that well, which is. So I felt like I was playing catch up a little bit.
Same with Adele, to be honest.
Yeah, we talked about.
I mean, Adele just.
Yeah, we did.
That's okay.
Adele,
But-
just express your thoughts.
Oh, express my
So what do
thoughts?
you have?
Yeah.
Talk to
Yeah,
us.
go ahead. Project.
Well,
Direct us, direct.
I think I like that we all got to share what our sort of favorite scenes and moments were. I thought that was very cool. Like I said, I really enjoyed the prison sequence. I also thought that it played really well because it came at a good part of the movie. It was kind of, was it the halfway mark, you would say? I don't know, that perfect point where you know the characters well enough, and you've just invested enough in them. So that prison scene just I really loved the whole thing the entire time they were in the prison. I thought that was great. They did a classic. It was a classic prison escape, but they just did it really well. It was good fun.
Yeah.
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 I mean,
Yeah.
go ahead. I was thinking
Anyone
about
else?
like, the cinematography behind that, and just, I mean, not just the CG work behind it, but just the setup for it. Like, because
was
they took the
perfection.
time to build up the characters in a way that we could relate to them, but at the same time know that each one of these characters, there's something wrong with them.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Pretty
like,
much.
they have a real meated layer to them, you know? And, like, by the time, like, when they were threatening Gamora, and Drax had threatened Gamora, like, and I think Peter had convinced him not to kill her. Like, I was like, I got invested in Drax just from that interaction. You know what I'm saying? And so
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
subtle moments for it, they pinged off up until that moment when the prison secret happened, and you saw like them getting shot at and stuff like that, and then all of a sudden, like Groot goes on the attack, like he goes like off on them, but then like when Rocket gets his gun, and you just notice the dynamics between those two. Like me and Joe were talking about that. It was like, okay, we are invested in them as a team. So it was perfectly dynamic, like set up, and then even like the CG work for it was beautiful. I don't know if did y'all see it in 3D IMAX? Any of y'all?
I didn't.
I saw it in
No,
3D.
saw it
I
in
didn't.
normal.
It
I
was.
saw it in
I saw
normal
it
because I'm
3D.
poor.
It was,
Me too.
it was so good.
I don't have to pay, so it's okay.
Like there were times that there was stuff actually jumping out at me, not up converted 3D. Like it was actually done very well.
Yeah.
And every
Yeah.
sequence when there was like stuff coming out at you, it was like, all right, I'm invested into this. This is so awesome.
I mean, I don't usually watch 3D films because they're not that great most of the time, but I think the one I watched before that was X-Men Days of Future Past, and that wasn't too bad. But this one, because there was so much flexibility with what they could do with it, because they're in our space, anything could happen sort of thing. It's not supposed to sort of be realistic. You could just literally do whatever you want with it, and the 3D worked really well with that, I think.
Yeah.
I had a point and it's gone now again. So bad. Oh yes, we were talking
You're
about the
okay.
dynamic.
It's pretty much midnight over where you are.
I'm just delusional. Yeah. We were talking about the dynamic between Groot and Rocket, and that was just perfect. But then they had to kill Groot, and it was
It was so sad, and Rocket's like crying and screaming. It was just like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It was heartbreaking.
man.
I kind of wish they would have. They would have kept them together because they are the Guardians now. I mean, this is just one movie. I mean, they would have killed him in the next one. I think I would have been fine with it. But because at the beginning,
Dead.
He's
Oh,
coming
he's not
back.
dead.
He just
Oh,
has to
yeah,
get
he's-
grown.
Remember, they
Going
put him
back-
in that little pot.
Baby
He's
Groot,
just
yeah.
Yeah, Baby
Yeah,
Groot.
that was him.
He's my new
That's
favorite
what
character.
happened.
Baby Groot.
It could take a while though. I mean, like, because at the beginning of the movie they weren't supposed to like each other. Like, I love how they didn't automatically like each other because they had to.
Yeah.
They were all against each other. Gamora was trying to get the orb of Peter Quill, and Rocket was with Groot. Oh, Stan Lee's.
He always
I
like
forgot to
plays
even-
that for whatever reason in the Marvel universe. He's just like some kind
So
of
yeah,
whiny.
the dynamic between all of the characters. They need to hurry up and grow Groot back because I just need the Guardians to be back together again for the
Lots
second
of water,
movie.
lots of water.
Yeah, I mean the
Yes.
good thing about that, when I saw like one of the animated features on the Amazing Spider-Man, I saw Groot like starting off in a pot, and like they were telling Spider-Man, throw Groot. And he's like, he's just a twig. What am I gonna do with this thing? And so he throws him, and like Groot grows automatically, just goes on a rampage. So seeing that scene, that leads me to believe that he's gonna be fine. Like he's gonna be just fine.
Hopefully someone will just throw him and he'll become massive Groot again and we'll be happy.
Yeah.
I'm praying.
Well, everyone loved Groot. It would be ridiculous not to have him grow back immediately. He was one of the best characters, and he said 3 words. That says something. If you want one of the best characters with 3 words.
And you can just attach to a tree just like that.
Yeah, I've never had that happen. I've never gone into a movie and been like, that tree was really, really relatable.
Maybe like Treebeard from Lord of the Rings. There isn't many tree characters, is there?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Treebeard because I was watching Lord of the Rings. But just that you can do that with a tree that says 3 words, and just because Rocket can understand what Groot's saying just by 3 words, because he says his language is really limited and everything is just I am Groot. And there was that line, I think they were having a conversation, and I think they were asking questions to each other, and then Peter was just like, I guarantee the answer will consist of the 3 words I am and Groot.
That's great. There was some really great like one-liners. Didn't you think that it was very clever dialogue? Like I put in the conversation before, my favorite line from Gamora has to be, "I will not succumb to your pelvic sorcery." It was amazing.
The writing was fantastic, yeah.
I just like when directors write the films as well, just because they know how they want it to be, sort of thing. I just think it's a lot better when they write and direct at the time. I don't know what sort of dynamic that is, but it just works. Like with Joss Whedon and the Avengers, it just works perfectly. I don't know what it is. I just think a film is 10 times better when the director writes it as well. I'm not saying like films that have different directors and writers are bad, because there are some absolutely fantastic films out there that have different writers and directors. But when you sort of have that connection to it, the way you want the comedy to turn out, and I know James Gunn has done some different sort of films in the past. I mean, is it called Slitter? In the past, and you wouldn't, you wouldn't really expect him to be doing. You wouldn't expect him to be doing a comic book movie. The same with like Edgar Wright when he was doing Ant-Man. You wouldn't expect him to be doing a comic book movie. Was that a little?
Don't even remind me he's gone, please.
Oh, we had a massive conversation about it before. We're just not going to talk about it anymore.
Can I ask you guys? So everything's been very, very positive up until now. Does anyone have any like issues with it? Any sort of things that didn't work?
I talked about in my review that I sort of compared Ronan to the Dark Elf in Thor 2: The Dark World, just because
I did the same thing in mine.
Yeah, because he kind of just got. I keep Nebula and Nova mixed up. He kept sort of getting Nebula to do all his stuff for him, sort of thing, and he wasn't really the I'm gonna do all the stuff villain type. And just the presence of Thanos as well. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but because he is the higher power, you sort of like, you were mentioning, Adele, that he calls him like boy and stuff, and you were saying that it took the villainous side away from him, and I completely agree with you there. There was just something missing from the villain sort of thing. For me.
Yeah. I felt that too.
It was really that sense of danger that was lacking. But having said that, it's extremely hard to get that balance of comedic, fun, and then also put that life or death. People could really die. In fact, a whole planet is going to get blown up to smithereens. So.
That's not
like
great.
You said like you didn't feel why he hated this place, and he was just doing it for the sort of sake of it. And like I really you said you needed background for him, and I completely agree with you there. Like every the background. I mean, what works so well with Avengers is that we already had Thor. We already had Loki and Thor, and then in Avengers we had Loki, so we already had sort of background there, and it's just kind of hard to do a villain background sort of thing without taking 15 minutes out of the movie.
Yeah.
No, I have to agree. What worked with getting to know each of these Guardians, so to speak, and what especially worked immediately for me with Rocket was that you get so much backstory in like 2 lines of dialogue, and the fact that his back is all mangled and being experimented on, like instantly you empathize, you connect, you get why he's so angry and why the anger is, why he projects so much because he's so hurt. You just get it instantly. So I thought that there could have been something for Ronan which could have shown why he hates this planet so much. Like anything, like he says it's 1,000 years of war or something like that. But I would have liked to have seen what it was that affected him personally.
Yeah, I think they said something about his father and his father's father or something. I think he said it like that twice in the movie or something, and I just didn't really get it. I mean, once he'd said it in the beginning of the movie, when he said it again, I'd completely sort of forgotten about it, so it sort of didn't make a lot of sense. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, that was my point, is like, if you can't because I'm sure they said his like reason, but the fact I can't remember it, that says something about how forgettable he was, and it's just like, I don't know. Like, I do think he's on that level of Malekith from Thor: The Dark World, who I thought was awful. I don't think he's as bad. Like, he does his job. He's a villain. He does his job. I'm going to destroy the universe, and he does. But I don't know. I could have used a little bit. And like Adele was saying, we got Rocket's backstory and just like a shot and then some words. Like, you could have gotten something there. And I don't know. I think they definitely could have done him better.
Yeah, I think for me, it's not so much how he was played off, because I think that I wanted a little bit of mystery to who he was and the feel that like he was kind of like this ultimate kind of warrior kind of thing. I mean, to me though, for being a Marvel fan, I know that nobody can beat Thanos anyway. Thanos, in and of himself, is something that could destroy the Hulk. So I mean, I knew that going in, that if Thanos was even going to be introduced in the Guardians, that everybody was going to be inferior to him anyway. But the fact that this guy had the gall to actually threaten Thanos, it showed me that he has some feels about himself, And so I thought that was really good. The problem that I had with it was that he was killed off. I felt that if this guy is so serious like this, like they could have used him later on for other installments, if not being utilized with other villains when they're going to be actually doing like maybe like a Planet Hulk, or when they're actually going to have like Nova or Iron Man be a part of the Guardians of the Galaxy, which will happen later on in the universe. And so these kind of things, I was like, this character, he brings a presence to him, and Lee does such a good job resonating that just through the way that they have him. As far as it might have been the body art, it might have been the acting, but I really got more invested in him than I ever did the Dark Elf. The Dark Elf I could care nothing about, but I can't compare him to the way that the Ronan was done in this one, just personally. But I really hate that they killed him off. But there was a point that I did feel like, as you said, Adele, when you had said like there was points where you didn't feel like there was a lot of danger. When they actually had the Infinity Stone exposed, and when Peter Quill grabbed it, I mean, I knew that he couldn't die because he was one of the main characters, but I didn't know what would happen to him. I didn't know if he was going to be physically scarred from the face up. I didn't know if one of the other characters was going to sacrifice themselves for it. But I knew that somebody was going to die. And you have said that as well. But I don't know. Like, I really feel like they should have tried to kept him. And that was my main gripe about it. The other thing is they could have tried to connect him to maybe more of the Marvel Universe, like just the characters in general. But I felt like the way that they did the story so well, it wasn't needed. You know what I'm saying? There's not too many things I could really go off of it other than they shouldn't have killed Ronan. But,
Okay.
Did anyone else think that some of the comedies here and there, for me, a couple of the jokes like just completely missed? One of them I'm thinking of in particular, which was really kind of distasteful for me, was when Gamora Gamora. I mean, and it would go over a lot of people's heads, but I thought it stuck out in a bad way to me. It was when Gamora's on the ship and she says the ship is filthy, and then Star-Lord goes, you should put a black light to it. It'd be like a Jason Pollock painting.
I'm not gonna lie, I laughed my ass off when that happened.
Okay, I think it's really funny, but I don't know, to me, it made Star-Lord seem like a jerk, because at that point he's already interested in Gamora, and for him to say that behind her back when she's already left the room, I was like, I don't know, that just didn't mix with the hero image that he had built up until that point. If he had done that before he had met Gamora with the other girl, like, it's cool, I think that's hilarious, but I don't know, what do you guys think?
I think they tried to mimic the James Kirk and Han Solo scoundrel kind of feel, because James Kirk,
which I like,
he's a womanizer. He goes between any kind of woman, and then Han Solo, like, many a times he was a serious jerk to Princess Leia. And I mean, for them to try to make it feel like those kind of characters, I think they probably added that small little gesture in. So I think the guys probably laughed a little bit more than the girls. It really was distasteful in the sense of when it kind of came in randomly. And I don't think they could have, they didn't have to go down that route, but I guess to address that at his core on the outside layers, that yeah, he is a scoundrel, and he has been in dirt before. But I mean, you have to think about who raised him, you know? Like the characters that raised him.
Yeah.
I mean, those dudes are grimy. Me and Joe were joking about, like, you don't know what kind of things that we've written, sacrificed for you. There were people that were gonna eat you. They were gonna eat you. And I was like, what is wrong? It was such a feel of, like, kind of like this, like, these characters are so dirty, you know. And I mean, that dirt is gonna rub off in a way, but that doesn't have to be your reality, just like any other person in reality, you know. And so I think that's why they try to address it like that. But yeah, I understand.
I liked having it as a backstory. No, don't get me wrong. I thought it was, in the grand scheme of it, it's completely harmless. It was just a little tiny thing that kind of caught my attention while I was watching the movie, that I thought it came a bit late in the movie. Yeah. I could have used it a bit earlier on, and because by that point I was already, like, he was charming the pants off of me, and I, like, wanted to love him, which I did. So for him to say that was just like, whoa.
I completely get what Adele's saying.
Yeah.
And it could be just a female thing, but
yeah, maybe. I mean, like, you could sort of argue that the humor is a certain type of humor, but it's a humor that everyone could get, sort of thing. I mean, you watch things like, did you guys watch A Million Ways to Die in the West?
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like, that could be a either-or sort of comedy. Like, you either get it or you don't get it, sort of thing. But with Guardians of the Galaxy, it's so broad. But I get what Adele's saying with that. It's kind of distasteful, and we already knew he was sort of a pimp because of the girl he had in his room. I really like that comparison to James T. Kirk, actually, because, like, in the reboot Star Trek, he's got that girl with the green skin in his bed and girl with two heads or whatever. But yeah, I mean, he's this charming guy, and you don't really expect it to come from him, sort of thing.
Yeah.
I had another point. Oh, I remember this point, guys. Just the sort of comparison between Nebula and Gamora, because they're both adopted daughters of Thanos. I just thought maybe there was kind of something missing, because Nebula was so different from Gamora. I don't know whether it's their sort of personalities, but I know they had the same upbringing of being brought up by Thanos, being made into, like, a weapon, an assassin. But Nebula was so for blowing up this country, sort of thing, and she was so for against Thanos, and then Gamora was so against Ronan and Thanos. It was just two completely sort of different stories. But maybe, I don't know, they'll do a individual Gamora film where they sort of explain that more in detail, sort of thing. I really like the dynamic between them, and I really like the hand-to-hand combat fight scenes, because I'm kind of sick of things just blowing up for no reason at this point. Even though there is reasons for these explosions, thank God. But just, I think hand-to-hand combat is just, it was beautifully choreographed, and it hits I don't know, it just hits a nerve, sort of thing. Like, that was what I really loved about Captain America: The Winter Soldier. I mean, the scenes between the Winter Soldier and Steve Rogers, they just hit me a little harder, knowing that they had the history that they did, and that Bucky didn't remember who Steve Rogers was. I don't know. I just think the hand-to-hand combat works a lot more if you film it in a good way. I mean, if you have completely shaky cam and you can't see anything, then it just doesn't work at all. But I think the hand-to-hand combat and the sort of dynamic between Gamora and Nebula was really interesting.
Yeah. All right, I'm about to say this. I don't want to mess anybody up, but we literally only have 9 more minutes, and then the feed will shut off. So
is that our cue? All right. I think we should take a hint from that.
I forgot we only had like an hour on here. Like, well, because I've been talking to Sam for like 2 hours now.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Any thoughts to wrap up, guys?
The movie was.
I liked the movie.
Well, I hope so. Otherwise, we're in a very big dispute of discussion right now. Yeah. Imagine if someone just joined and said, "Oh, I hate it." It was like, this is so awkward.
There would be a lot of yelling.
I'd love to hear now that this movie has come out. I'd love to hear what everyone's top Marvel movie is, if this is in the on the table for being your favorite Marvel movie, or if there's something else that still really stands out for you.
Sorry, carry on.
Oh, I'm sorry. What I think is you can like kind of separate it into 2 different spots. Like Avengers is my favorite comic book movie of all time, but if I have to say my favorite Marvel, like excluding that, I'd say Winter Soldier, because it was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Well, I'm gonna ask this question: Does the Sam Raimi series play a part in this Marvel universe? Like, question. Because if so,
it's Spider-Man
2 is one of my favorites. Period. I mean, I think Avengers is number 1. Spider-Man 2 would be probably, and then it's really, honestly, to me now, it's a debate between Days of Future Past and this, just because of, I can't believe they went there with this, because Days of Future Past was amazing.
It was.
Agreed.
But
was.
So I don't know, but.
I was when I was talking to Sam, I said like Avengers is one of my favorite movies of all time, not just my favorite comic book movie, just because I can watch it over and over again and just not get sick of it. But I think if I watched this film as many times as I watched Avengers, it would be on the same sort of level. But like, other than that, X-Men Days of Future Past is a big winner for me. It did the same sort of thing. It did a really good job in rebooting everything, and because of like the ending, now the previous 3 X-Men films are just sort of not there anymore, and it was just a really crazy thing for Bryan Singer and Marvel and Fox to do, sort of thing. But I think maybe Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, and X-Men Days of Future Past are all on par, and also Winter Soldier. I love Winter Soldier too. And Adele.
Well, I kind of asked that question without having an answer for myself. I wanted to hear what your thoughts were.
You were just like, I'm going to choose one of theirs.
Yeah. I really couldn't say. I really couldn't say. The Avengers is, of course, like right up there. I think that would have to be number 1. And I would probably put Winter Soldier before the X-Men, because that's just a personal thing. Yeah, but this one is right up there. It wouldn't top it, wouldn't top those other ones, but it is on par for a different reason, for that lightness and that humor that I want from superhero movies, I think, which it really did.
Okay. How long do we have left? Oh, Joe, Joe.
My top 3 would be X-Men, of course. Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, the second one. Of course, this one. Not in that order per se, but there's have to be the top 3.
How long do we have left?
We have 5 minutes and counting.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to wrap it up, guys. I'm sure, Rihanna, you must be so tired. It's like, what, 12:30 or something?
It's 5 minutes to 1.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Wow.
I'm good. I don't sleep. I'm a vampire.
Oh, God.
Well, we love your dedication.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Thank you. Well, Adele, imagine what time it would be if you were in Oz right now.
I'd be just waking up. I think it's something like in Oz. I think it might be like 10 a.m. or something like that.
Oh wow.
Time difference is ridiculous.
10 a.m.
Because from like the UK to Australia, it's like something like 24 hours or 12 hours ahead or something ridiculous like that. Anyway,
Something ridiculous.
shall we all sign off now?
Yeah, this was awesome, y'all. I really appreciate y'all
Yeah,
for joining.
I really enjoyed
the discussion. Like, we went into so many different things. Like, people are gonna. I'm gonna broadcast it. And I'm gonna also post it on my channel, so y'all can share the link or whatever. Like, a lot of people are gonna probably enjoy this. So.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Okay.
If they have a casual, 2 hours handy.
People do this all the time. It's fine. So Sin City 2 is gonna happen.
It's been consistently 8 people up here, though.
Oh,
Just looking at it the whole entire time.
So much.
Go
content.
8 people.
Woo!
Y'all rock.
I'm gonna just spam my subscribers like hell later. Anyway, this has been Rihanna from Rihanna Toria. So that's me signing off.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
Have a good night.
It was nice meeting you guys so much in person.
You,
I talked to all you guys anyway. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
All right, Ash. Take care, man.
All right, you guys.
All right. Thank you very much. This was really fun. This was my first Google Hangout live discussion. I really enjoyed it. Thank you very much for putting it on, Sam. Good
Yeah,
fun.
definitely. Yeah, you're gonna have to do the next one. It's gonna be on you this next time. I'll walk you through it, but it's on you this next time.
All right. Sounds fair.
All right.
I like it.
Okay.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you so much, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Let's say goodbye for a whole minute.
I'm gone.
And now there was two.
Bye.
Goodbye. Oh yeah.